I decided to make this video into 3 sections. So this is my Oracle collection. There are some great Oracle decks in my collection if you're a beginner. There are 2 other videos that go along with this My Oracle collection. One is about my underutilized Oracle collection, and you'll see a link for that below. And the first one is more Tarot and Oracle that I use in readings. And these ones are more my personal favorites and personal use cards. So where to start? Actually, it looks really higgledy-piggledy, but I've kept things with the book. So I'm going to start here. This is The Witch's Oracle by Sally Morningstar, and it's just a fairly recent edition, well, you know, this year anyway. And I really like this Oracle deck. You will have seen that I do have a tarot deck that is based on sort of witch themes, and this has got lots of themes of witchcraft and magic and things like that. And it's quite an old deck, but I think they reprinted or whatever. But I love it. I just love it. I don't use it all the time. It is quite deep. It's great for personal work. I love using this when I'm doing circles and things like that. It gives me a lot of depth for myself. I'm going to stick with that theme of personal depth, and you will have seen, if you're new to my videos, you may not, but medicine cards. I've made quite a lot of videos about the medicine cards. They are some of my absolute favorites. This guidebook is amazing. I have been through a lot of the spreads in this particular guidebook. It is fantastic. As you can see, it's a big book. The cards themselves are quite old-fashioned. They're quite different too than a lot of new Oracle cards. They are in the standard tarot sort of dimensions, and these ones are all about the medicine from animal spirit, and they are amazing to work with. So for personal use, these are amazing. I don't tend to use them for private readings when I'm doing readings with people. They're more for my personal use, and I absolutely love them. On that same sort of vein, I have the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit Guidebook from Kim Krans, and in the early days I overused these, a bit like the Colette Baron Reid Oracle. Some good simple spreads in the beginning of this guidebook, so I feel like this is a particularly good one for newbies or for beginners. Kim has an amazing guidebook. It really is very helpful in, giving you some good information. It's not too much information. It's a really good place to start, particularly if you love animal spirit, working with animal spirits. This is a fabulous deck to begin with. So if you're a beginner and would like a simple deck that packs a lot of punch and can be used and reused, like this is well worn in my collection, but it's an older one now that I don't use as much, but I still use it personally, and it's a stunning imagery that she uses. The next one that is on the similar vein, which is for personal use, why I have it in my collection, is the Sacred Path cards, and these are by Jamie Sams, so one of the authors of the medicine cards. And for me, I bought myself a second-hand version of these because I think they might be out of print, and I don't usually buy many decks second-hand. Again, the imagery is very old-fashioned, but these come with a real punch, so they're very good for shadow work. They're very good for your own healing work. There will be a few videos based on these particular spreads that are in this guidebook. These guidebooks by Jamie Sams have a lot to give, and I particularly like using them. So you'll see video links below if you're interested. Most of the ones that you can see in front of you are in this similar vein. I am jumping all over the place, but I'm going to where I feel like I'm called. Goddesses and Sirens. This was a deck, another second-hand deck actually, that I inherited, and I do not like the imagery. The imagery to me does not say goddesses and sirens. It's a very masculine version of these women that I really have a very strong connection to. However, that's my personal take on it, and you may find that they embody these sirens and these goddesses for you. But I use them. I love what Stacey DeMarco has written. So it's just the imagery that, like, Kuan Yin is not this kind of deity to me. She is soft and gentle and all those things, but none of us are one-dimensional. So, you know, that's simply my version of these particular cards, but I do love them and I do use them a lot for my personal use. Occasionally I'll use them in readings. Staying with this same vein, we have the Sacred Power reading cards, and I think I have a review of these on YouTube, so I'll link that below. And here we have Compassion, and this looks like Kuan Yin to me, you know, sitting on the lotus. These are one of my first sets, and I absolutely love them. They have a lot to give you, lots of opening up imagery, good for your third eye, good for expanding on your intuition. They cover lots and lots of themes for you if you're doing general readings for yourself or for other people even. They're really good for beginners. So Sacred Power reading cards, another great oracle deck for beginners. Moving on now to the Druid plant and animal oracle, which again I think I have a walkthrough of at least one of them. I'm not sure if I've done both of them. And these cards are some of my favorites because I love the Celtic Druid symbology and connection, and I'm from this part of the world, and it really they sing true to me. The imagery that was done by Will Worthington is just stunning. The stories and the connection of these cards is amazing. And again, there's quite a thick guidebook, but you'll see that. And yeah, the stories that go with each animal in the animal oracle, I've got lots of fond memories of using these, and they go very deep. So if you're into Druid animals or plants, here's the plant version, which again I love. There's a couple of others that I don't have, but I'm trying to not buy, and I'll show you how extensive this guidebook is, and it's the same with the Druid Animal Oracle. Great, by Philip and Stephanie Cargom. And if you like plant medicine, I use and prescribe Australian bushflower essences, and so I do have quite a connection to the plant kingdom. And I absolutely, again, this imagery by Will Worthington is just standout. I love the borders. Like, there's so much to love in these. Each one is, they give you a really good description of what is going on in the picture. So they'll tell you the flowers that are in the imagery, what this cauldron is, why it's significant. They give you the landscape and what's going on. And then the symbology plus stories behind it. So again, some standout cards for me, some of my absolute favorites. And again, for when I'm doing personal work, they're things that I gravitate towards. Another favorite, but not one that I use terribly much anymore, are the Dreamtime reading cards by Laura Bowen. Aboriginal artwork done by Laura, I do believe, and they're very bright. They're really beautiful. I think I've got them all upside down. They really speak to you. The imagery can move for you, and these are the types of cards that I love using. I don't use them all the time, but they do really speak to me. They open up, and that I always find to be a really good oracle deck, ones that I can see other things in, or that open my third eye to explore and navigate and, you know, work with. So I've got a few more on this side, and one that I've just seen out of the corner of my eye, which is the Wildflower reading cards by Cheryl and Darcy. Now, I don't use these terribly much. But I really, again, these are Plant Kingdom, and I really do enjoy the Plant Kingdom. I suppose I don't love the imagery. I don't know why. It's just, at times it speaks to me, and at times I find it a bit chaotic to look at. But having said that, I really do enjoy these cards, and most of the imagery I find to be really pleasing, and I use these a lot for pick a card readings that I do on a Friday on my Facebook page. So if you're interested, make sure you're following me on Facebook. And while we're talking about it, if you're not following me on YouTube, if you're interested in Oracle and Tarot, spreads, things like that, please follow me. This is the Ascended Masters by Doreen Virtue. Now, you know, some really old-fashioned cards here that are definitely out of print. And we have some very basic cards and concepts in these cards, but they're really easy to use, you know, so easy to use, really smart cards. You may or may not be attracted to the imagery, and also if you are looking for things that are out of print, I do have some out of print cards, particularly some Doreen Virtue cards that I sell. They're not necessarily listed on my website, but if you want to direct message me either on Facebook or on YouTube, I can show you what I have. That changes all the time. But yeah, these cards, I still use them. I don't always use them. I find the imagery sometimes sort of hit and miss, but I do like them. I do like the Doreen Virtue cards that I do have. And then I've got another set here, Doreen Virtue again, which are the Archangel Oracle. And these ones, that last set was also a secondhand set. And these were not secondhand, these were mine. And when I began my Oracle, you know, sort of journey, I needed these lovely, soft, angelic images. I needed some direction in my life, and Doreen Virtue was, you know, very popular at the time, which is obviously a long time ago. And I find that the imagery was both pleasing and comforting, but also, you know, quite firm at times. And that is exactly what I needed. Another Cheryl and Darcy deck, which is has been quite popular, the Green Witch Oracle. I think this is probably my favourite of Cheryl and Darcy's now. I've got a couple of hers. And this one, you know, has the witch theme going on, but it has the plant as well. So I love the plants. Sometimes you might find that this is not your thing. It doesn't open your third eye up. It doesn't set your imagination going. And if that's the case, that's fine. But I would say to you that if you find looking at broccoli not, you know, it doesn't open your third eye up, it doesn't speak to you, then you know, move your eye around and look for the other symbols you've got going on. You've got Libra, you've got Gemini, you've got a moon, you've got some other, maybe a scepter. And then you've got your word, leadership. So use the imagery that you've got in the card, because there's a lot more here than, you know, than first meets the eye, particularly with these Green Witch Oracle. I particularly like them. I did go through a stage of using them all the time. I probably don't do that so much anymore, but I still love using them. This is a different selection of Oracle, ones that I really don't use very much. And actually there's one tarot set in here too. I'll start with the Celtic Tree Oracle, and as I've said, I really like plant-based information. I, you know, have a connection with the plant kingdom, and I think this deck is very beautiful. It has a lot in the guidebook to go through. The imagery does not really open the third eye up for me. Having said that, I just love it, and I do like the Celtic stuff, so I won't get rid of it. And the book is and it's kind of interesting because that's illustrated by Jimmy Manton, who has illustrated the Goddess cards, and I'm not really that fond of this imagery. Carolyn Mace, Archetype Cards. I know some people use these like religiously, and my daughter bought these for me. So, and I wanted them, but I don't use them a lot. I think, you know, there's nothing wrong with them. They're they're perfectly, they've got some really, really basic, you know, information. So if you're starting out, they could actually be something that helps you, you know, open up in a sense, because it gives you a starting point. But maybe I got these at the wrong part of my journey with oracle cards, because they feel like they don't offer me a lot, so I don't use them that much. Sacred Spirit Reading Cards by Anna Stark. So this is the set that if you go back and watch my old video, you'll see me go on a bit about the imagery and how the darkness of the imagery is not my favorite. And they just don't seem to have the same life to them as the Sacred Power reading cards, which I think are a great first beginner oracle deck, whereas these ones, I don't know, they're just, if you're into them, you're into them. You'll see, I think I've got a video where I walk through those as well. These ones here are the Antiquities of Magick Oracle. And so they are, you know, based on magical themes. They are actually based on the traditional tarot. So they go through the symbology in a different way, but they have the same sort of meaning. So, you know, that's the Strength card. That's the Death card, or one version of it. I actually really like this imagery. Gillian C. Wilde, and I think I have just bought a deck of hers that she has done on Kickstarter, or 3 decks actually. So I'm looking forward to getting those. And yeah, these are quite handy. You can see obviously that they're quite small, really great for shuffling. So they're so tiny. And I just had 2 fall out, so I'm going to keep them aside and have a look at what they refer to, because I believe that they might have a meaning for me. But yeah, these, I do use them off and on. I'll get them out at times. But I probably need to work with them more to really understand them better. So that could be something for me to do, is, you know, to have a better look at these cards and work with the imagery and get used to what they're relating to. All right, so we got one set of oracle here, which is the Pagan Otherworlds Tarot, and these are absolutely stunning by UC, and I do use these, but they're just not my go-to ones. You know, they're just not ones that I use all the time. I use them when I'm in a particular mood, I suppose, but I did use them for a long time as my go-tos, but just now they're not. So they're just in this part of my collection, which is the not used as much part, but they are stunning if you're looking for a different tarot deck. Now, moving on, we've got some, I've got one more selection here, which is the Divine Animals Oracle by Stacey DeMarco. And Stacey DeMarco is great. She makes great oracle decks. However, she does write a lot. So, you know, sometimes I get over reading if there's too much information. I don't know if you're the same as me, but the imagery here is stunning. And I actually find that these cards, I quite like what she's written. And they give you stories about, you know, the idea of the elephant and leadership, and then I think it's Ganesh. But they're really stunning cards, but I don't use them that much, and I do probably use them for myself a bit more, because again, there's a lot in there. There's a lot of explanation. So I tend not to use that type of card when I'm doing readings, because I want it to be my interpretation, not necessarily the guidebook's interpretation. Yeah, they're not ones that I tend to use. But having said that, if I'm looking at this imagery, it does look like the type of imagery that will open up your third eye. So there could be something that I could incorporate into my readings a bit more. We've got 3 more here, and then I've got a section of ones that I don't use very often. Now, these ones were bought for me for my son, the Sea Soul Journey Oracle cards. There are 4 different sections of these, and they're depicted by different backings. Let's see if I can find the other one. Here it is. I think they're 4. There could actually be 5, because I think I've missed one anyway. But they're actually beautiful. They remind me, and it's funnily enough, I've put them sitting underneath the old Louise Hay, because they're very much like that. They have a beautiful image. They're all based on the sea. And I thought they'd be Australian, actually, because they've got that feeling. But they're not. It's a lady, Pippa Best, and she's in England. And they give you a keyword, and then may you open and explore. So they give you a statement. And then in the book, there is not a lot. There is a little bit of, expansion on these cards. But the imagery is just divine. They're actually really good if you're, to start a reading or to finish a reading, if you're reading for others or if you're reading for self. And when you're reading for yourself, they're actually quite good. So they're probably just ones that I haven't used as much as I could, because they are quite beautiful. And then we have my really, really old ones, the very first ones that I ever bought. I Can Do It cards by Louise Hay. And these cards are very old-fashioned now. There's a lot of other decks now that have brought out the same thing. These are statement-based, affirmation-based cards. When I make a mistake, I realise that it is only part of the process of the learning process. On the back of the card, as I forgive myself, it becomes easier to forgive others. And these were my first things that I bought, and they were basically a life-changing thing for me. I would pick one for the day, and it really, really helped my mental health. So if you're someone who needs some mental health, support, something like this, it doesn't have to be the Louise Hay ones, but, there's a lot of other people who have similar things out now. I think of Gabby Bernstein. I don't particularly like them, but they probably, because this is my version of those same things. Wisdom cards by Louise Hay, but these ones by Pippa Best, they're very similar. Wisdom cards are very similar to the last ones I just showed you. And again, I would just love these cards. I am at peace. I relax and enjoy life. I know that whatever I need to know is revealed to me in the perfect time and space and sequence. And Louise Hay was, the forerunner, one of the what do you call them, the trailblazers of this movement. So if these aren't your thing, find something like this. They're very good for your mental health. Use them daily. Get them and look at them and sit with the card and, and support yourself. That's what those cards are fabulous for. I decided to make this video into 3 sections. So there are some great Oracle decks in my collection if you're a beginner. Things that I would probably start with would be things like Anna Stark reading cards. If you're looking for a really great one for your mental health, obviously the Louise Hay are great, but the Sea Soul Journey Oracle cards by Pippa Best, if you're looking for a more up-to-date version of that, I would definitely suggest those. If you're looking for another Oracle deck that is really got a lot of bang for your buck, the Animal Spirit by Kim Kranz. But it just depends on what your tastes are and what you're into, because if you're into witches and things like that, or witchcraft, then the Witch's Oracle by Sally Morningstar is a great one. The Druid's animal or plant oracles, fabulous. So it really depends on what you particularly like. Now, there are 2 other videos that go along with this, my Oracle collection. One is about my underutilized Oracle collection, and you'll see a link for that below. And the first one is more tarot cards and what I use, tarot and Oracle, that I use in readings. And these ones are more my personal favorites and personal use cards. Thank you for being here so much. I've really enjoyed it. Please make sure that you like this video. Please subscribe if you like Oracle and Tarot. Over on my Facebook page, every Friday, you'll see a pick a card reading, also other Tarot and Oracle posts. And if you would like a private reading, there is a link in the description box below. Thanks for being here. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.